Chapter 1. Whispers in the Stacks. New York City, 1927. The air was thick with the scent of rain-slicked cobblestones and the faint, illicit tang of bootleg gin wafting from alleyways. Skyscrapers clawed at the gray October sky like iron fingers, their lights flickering on as dusk bled into night. Eleanor Vance hurried through the grand marble halls of the New York Public Library, her low-heeled Oxfords clicking against the polished floor. At 32, she was a wisp of a woman, sharp-featured, with chestnut hair pinned in a practical bob and eyes the color of storm clouds, always scanning, always probing. The Chronicle paid her a pittance for her society column drivel, but Eleanor's heart lay in the shadows, in the stories that didn't make the front page. 5 years ago, her brother Thomas had vanished into those same shadows. A rising star in architecture, he'd been designing bold structures that married steel and glass in ways that whispered of the future. Then, one autumn morning, he'd left a note on her kitchen table. The veil thins. Trust no one. Find the Aether. No body, no ransom, no trace. The police had called it a nervous breakdown. Eleanor knew better. Tonight, chasing a tip from a rumpled archivist who'd overheard whispers in the map room, she slipped into the Milstein Division of United States History. The air was musty, heavy with the weight of forgotten tomes. Her fingers trailed along spines cracked with age, until she found it, a slim, leather-bound ledger misfiled among patent records from the War Department, dated 1919. Its pages were brittle, ink faded to ghosts, but there, pressed between yellowed sheets like a pressed flower, was a slip of paper no larger than a calling card. The message was a cipher, a grid of letters and symbols that danced mockingly under the dim lamplight. Eleanor's pulse quickened. She'd seen codes like this before, in Thomas's old sketchbooks, scribbled in margins beside blueprints of impossible towers. Ethereum, it read, when she squinted, the word emerging like a specter. Convergence at the fulcrum. The device awakens. Silence the seers. She pocketed the slip and fled the library, heart hammering. Outside, the city roared, a symphony of taxi horns, newsboys hawking headlines about Lindbergh's flight, and the distant wail of a jazz den from a hidden jazz den. Eleanor hailed a cab to the village, where Samuel Davies bound books by day and nursed regrets by night. Samuel was nursing one now, hunched over a pint in a dimly lit speakeasy called The Blind Owl. At 40, he was broad-shouldered and bearish, with salt-and-pepper beard and hands scarred from wire cutters and wartime shrapnel. The army had trained him to crack German Enigma variants, but peace had reduced him to mending spines and dodging bill collectors. When Eleanor burst in, shaking rain from her coat, he looked up with a mix of irritation and affection. "Allie, it's not even 7. What's got you looking like you seen the Kaiser himself?" She slid the cipher across the scarred oak table. "This, from the library. It's tied to Thomas. I know it." Samuel sighed, adjusting his spectacles. "Codes are puzzles, not portals to the past. Let it lie." But he took the paper anyway, his calloused hands tracing the grid. An hour and 2 whiskeys later, the cipher cracked like an egg. It wasn't German or Russian. It was something bespoke, a Polybius square laced with alchemical symbols. "The Ethereum," he muttered. "Some kind of club, or a cult. Mentions a device, harnessing the Aether, whatever that means. And a list of names. Rockefeller, Morgan, even that bootlegger fellow, Rothstein." Eleanor's breath caught. "Thomas's note, the Aether. This is it, Sam. They're real." He folded the paper away. "If they're real,
"They're dangerous. Walk away." She met his gaze, fierce. "I can't, not until I know what happened to him." Chapter 2. Threads of Silk and Smoke. The next morning dawned crisp, the Hudson glittering like shattered diamonds under a reluctant sun. Eleanor and Samuel started at the stock exchange, where fortunes flipped like cards in a gambler's hand. Posing as researchers for a fluff piece on market booms, they wheedled access to old ledgers. What they found chilled them, a web of anomalies. Millions funneled through shell companies, Ethereum Investments, Fulcrum Holdings, traced to patents for electromagnetic resonance devices filed under pseudonyms. One name leapt out: Dr. Aris Torn, a physicist drummed out of Columbia for unorthodox theories on the Aether, the supposed fifth element binding space and time. "Torn's paper from 22, Samuel whispered, flipping through a dog-eared journal in a midtown cafe. He claimed the Æther wasn't myth, it's a field we can tap, like radio waves but for reality itself. Bend it and you warp matter, weapons, travel, power beyond dreams." Eleanor traced a finger over a blurred photograph. Torn, wild-eyed with a shock of white hair. Stolen, the Aetherium took his work. Their trail led to Fifth Avenue, where the elite danced on the edge of the Jazz Age abyss. At a gala for the Metropolitan Opera, Eleanor donned a borrowed silk gown, emerald green, clinging like a second skin, and charmed her way past butlers into the Vanderbilt ballroom. Crystal chandeliers dripped light like molten gold. Flappers twirled in fringes and pearls, while men in tuxedos puffed Chesterfields and murmured of tariffs and trusts. She spotted him across the room. Elias Crow, steel magnate and rumored Aetherium financier. Bald as a cue ball, with a mustache like a broom bristle, he held court by the punch bowl. Eleanor sidled up, feigning a spill of champagne to draw his eye. "Clumsy evening, miss," Crow drawled, dabbing her cuff with a monogrammed hanky. His eyes were cold, appraising. "Only when the music's this intoxicating," she replied, voice honeyed. "Mr. Crow, your firm is sponsoring the opera. Such generosity. Any secrets to your success? Whispers say you invest in exotic ventures." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Exotic, merely progressive, my dear. The future's in the unseen forces, like the Æther. Ever heard of it? A fairy tale for physicists. Or a fulcrum for empires. But fairy tales have teeth. Best not chase dragons without a lance." Samuel waited in the shadows outside, engine idling in a borrowed Model T. As Eleanor emerged, a plain Packard peeled from the curb, tires screeching. It tailed them through Harlem's neon veins, past sugar shacks and preaching corners. Samuel floored it, weaving through pushcarts and pedestrians, until they lost it in the labyrinth of tenements. "They're watching," Eleanor gasped, clutching the dash. Samuel's knuckles whitened on the wheel. "Then we go underground." Chapter 3. Echoes from the Depths. The underbelly of New York was a living beast, sewers gurgling beneath streets alive with the babble of immigrants. In Little Italy, where laundry lines sagged like weary banners, they found Maria Rossi. A seamstress with calloused hands and eyes hollowed by grief, she poured tea in a cramped walk-up, her 2 surviving children playing with wooden spoons on the floor. "My husband, Gino, he worked the docks, loading crates for Crow's ships, 21 it was. Came home raving about lights in the hold, glowing boxes that hummed like angels. Said they made the air taste of copper. Next day, gone. Police said accident, but I found this." She slid over a crumpled telegram stamped with an Ethereum seal. "Experiment terminated. Compensation enclosed." Maria's voice cracked. "They tested on us. Immigrants. Disposables. My Gino saw too much." Eleanor's throat tightened. Thomas's face flickered in her mind, laughing at Coney Island, sketching spires that touched the stars. "I'm sorry. We're going to stop them." That night, in Samuel's bindery, a cluttered warren above a bakery reeking of rye, they pieced it together. Stolen Thorn blueprints, smuggled via Rothstein's rum runners, coded cables to Berlin and London, post-war reparations twisted into funding. Disappearances, not random, but silenced witnesses, scientists, laborers, even a senator's aide. The Æther device? A resonator, per Thorne's notes, to fold space, unleash energy storms. A doomsday engine, veiled as progress. A knock shattered the quiet. Samuel cracked the door to a boy, no older than 12, breathless. "Mr. Davis? Telegram for the lady." Eleanor tore it open. "The seer returns. Fulcrum at dawn. End it. Signed T.V. Thomas."